Welcome to the Wealth Embodied podcast. I'm your host, Brianna Faringer, an attorney, spiritual guide, and wealth activator. I'm here to help you align your mindset for abundance and break through any glass ceilings with money. If you're ready to embrace your highest calling, manifest with more ease, and create a life that feels lighter and more aligned, then let's dive in. Hi, welcome to the Wealth Embodied podcast. I am Brianna. We are here to talk about money today. I hope you're having a really good day so far, whatever you are doing. For just this moment, these few moments that we have together, ask that you let go of anything that happened in your day today and let go of anything that you have to do after this and just really be present to the experience, because some of the stuff we're going to go over today is probably something that affects everyone. In fact, I would say it affects most people, as many mindsets around money do. But what I really want to talk about today is letting go of the fear and anxiety around money. And this is a hard topic, right? I'm going to talk about this in a way that makes it probably sound like, oh, super easy. I can be the first person to acknowledge that changing your mindsets around money takes work. It takes effort. It takes being aware of how you are acting, how you are responding, how you're treating yourself, how you're treating others, right? So there's a lot that I'm going to talk about today that hopefully will give you just some ways of maybe looking at your thoughts around money a little bit differently. But money is something that stresses out almost everybody, even if they have a lot of it, or unless they have done a lot of mindset work around money. I have done a lot of mindset work around money, and I still have fears and anxieties that come up. It just means that I can deal with them differently than I did before, and they don't stay with me, right? I don't let the fears, anxiety, stress, worries linger. I acknowledge them, I deal with them, and then I work on shifting them. And so that's something we're going to talk about today. But one thing, you're going to hear me say over and over and over again is it is not about the money. So when we are talking about getting more money in our lives or getting more of anything that we want, whether it's money or something else, it's not about the money. It's about what money reflects back to us in our lives. So when we start to look at the mindsets and patterns we have around money, it starts to reveal to us the things in our life that are already needing or wanting to be healed. Patterns that we have, the ways that we treat ourselves, the way we talk to ourselves, the way we treat other people, how we feel about ourselves. It reflects back to us all of those things and gives us the opportunity to make changes so that we can get more of money and more of everything else. Right? And so when you have a lot of fear and anxiety around money, it can be a hard thing to shake, number one. But if you have a lot of fear and anxiety around money, it's probably true that you have a lot of fear and anxiety around a lot of other things in your life. And it may not even be that conscious to you. I don't know. That's something, that you'll probably start thinking about as we go through this today. But, I am a person who was a worrier my whole entire life. I worried about everything, not just money. And I believed it was serving me. And that's the thing about the mindsets that we have. They are serving us in some way. They are keeping us safe. Otherwise, we wouldn't have them. So when you start to think about all of the fears that you have specifically around money, anxiety around money, stress around money, the mindsets that you have are tending to keep you safe in some way, right? And I'll give you an example using myself as we get more into this, but the mindsets you have are serving you, or you would not be using them. You wouldn't have them. You wouldn't be holding on to them. The thing is about mindsets, particularly when they are ones that are not, I don't like to use the word negative because I think that's a perception, but when you have mindsets that are not helping you, like having a worry around money, we often think it's serving us, but the reality is it's costing you so much more. And it's not just costing you more in money, it's costing you joy, it's costing you your mental and physical health, it's costing you a lot of things that we don't realize unless we sit down and really look at it. Right. And so I worried about money my whole entire life. It was something that just caused me so much anxiety. I didn't have any real reason to feel that way. Which is not to say I didn't have times in my life where I didn't have money. There were times I didn't, we didn't, my family didn't grow up with a lot of money, but we always had what we needed. So I never had anything that I could point to that some, really catastrophic event or something really traumatic that happened that was like, oh my gosh, I have this fear around not having money. When I was in college, I didn't have a lot of money. I was living paycheck to paycheck. I've lived paycheck to paycheck many times in my life. Not now, thank goodness. But for whatever reason, I always held on to this really great fear around money. And as I made more of it, it did not help. It actually furthered my constant worrying, because then the more money I got, the more I worried about losing it, the more I worried about things happening where it would go away. It created this scenario for me where I was constantly thinking about what I was going to do with every penny, right? And so if you had asked me, several years ago, let's just say 5 years ago, if I wanted to change the way I felt about money, I would have told you no, because why? It felt like the worrying about money was a part of me. It felt like the worry about money was who I am as a person, because it had been with me for so long. It felt like something not only that I couldn't change, but that I didn't need to change. I would have been like, why would I do that? Why? It's serving me. It's helping me be a meticulous planner, a meticulous investor, a meticulous saver, right? I was constantly playing these like, in my mind, like, okay, if my paycheck's going to be X, this is what I'm going to use it for. This is how much I'm going to put in savings. This is what I'm going to do for this. This is what I'm going to do for that, right? So I had led myself to believe it just made me very meticulous and organized with my money. It's not that that's not true. I was those things, but that constant fear and worry was causing me chronic health issues. It was causing me chronic lower back pain. If you've listened to any of the previous episodes, you'll know that I resolved my own chronic lower back pain that I had for over 7 years by changing my mindset around money. The anxiety and worries that we have, we hold on to them in our bodies. And if you have been going through your life for such a long time with fear and anxiety and stress and worries, it feels normal in your body. So we get to the point where we say, oh, well, this is just how I feel. This is just normal to feel this way. Everything is stressful. There's anxiety about everything, right? We have all these worries about so many things in our lives, and we hold on to it in our bodies. And it manifests in a lot of different ways. For me, it was chronic lower back pain. For other people, it can be something different. It could be another chronic health issue. But when you have constant fears, worries, anxiety, stresses about whatever it is, money or not, your body's going to hold on to it if you do not have mindful practices about being able to shift those mindsets and move the energy around it. So for me, when I realized that my mindset around money was what was causing my chronic lower back pain, immediately I was like, I don't want this anymore. Oh my God, I'm not going to do this anymore. I don't want this. I don't want to worry. I want to shift this. And I didn't know how to do it or what to do. And I'll probably do an episode where I go, a lot more into detail on that. At the time, I didn't know what that meant. I just knew that I had gotten information about having a scarcity mindset around money, and that I was determined to fix it, because I was like, I don't want this chronic lower back pain anymore. Everything that I believed those fears, anxiety, worries were serving me about money, I was like, I don't care about those anymore. Like, I want to get rid of this. So I started to realize what it was costing me. It was costing me my physical health. It was costing me my mental health. It was very hard to have a chronic health issue, which if you've had one, you would know this, when you keep trying things over and over and over again and none of them work. I had been trying everything. I spent thousands of dollars, even with insurance. I spent so much of my own time trying to figure out ways to resolve the chronic health issue. And it was a mindset. It was stored in my body. And that's why I say it can be hard to figure out when you have stress, anxiety, worry about money or anything all the time. It gets stored in your body and then you feel normal. So when you start to have chronic health issues, you don't recognize it as being something related to a mindset. If you have a chronic health issue, I'm not telling you it's related to a mindset, by the way. It very well could be. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving any medical advice. This is just from my own lived experience and from what I know about a lot of other people who have resolved chronic health issues through changing their mindset, in addition to sometimes other things, lifestyle, other holistic approaches to chronic health issues, not just looking at, Western medical solutions. So, but the thing about worrying about money in particular is it's not helping you. Right. So if you've ever heard the phrase worrying is like praying for what you don't want to happen, that is so true because our where we give attention is our intention. So if we are giving attention to worry about money in our minds, that is the energy we then put out in our body, and we attract scenarios to us that continue to provide evidence for us to worry about money or whatever the thing is that we are worrying about. It's a never-ending cycle, right? So if you have this belief that you need to be scared about money, worried about money, circumstances are going to come into your life that continue to provide evidence for you to say, see, look, that's why I'm worried about money. That's why I have this fear about money. It doesn't allow you to get out of that cycle of fear and anxiety and worry. I can tell you with absolute certainty, no matter who you are, where you are in your life, what you have going on, worrying about money is not helping you. It's just not. We come up with these ideas about what we think is going to happen, or the thing for me is it made me feel safe to think about, if I plan for all of the worst case scenarios, I'm going to be okay. I look back on that now and it makes me laugh because I don't want to live my life in worst case scenarios. I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. You have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. Nobody does. We don't have control over the things that happen in the future. The only thing we can control is our beliefs and our mindset and the way that we respond or our actions that we take to things. That's it. So for me to continue to worry about all of these things that could happen with money, that doesn't mean don't plan for risk, by the way. I'm not saying don't be smart with money, and I don't do financial planning or anything like that. So do you want to have certain types of insurance in place? Maybe. Do you want to have savings in place? Probably. Do you want to have certain types of retirement accounts in place? Yes. Those are all things that you should explore. Those are ways to plan against risk. But what I would say is, if you are taking action to plan against risk, don't constantly worry and think and ruminate over all of the things that could go wrong, because it's not helping you. It doesn't help you. It doesn't serve you. I know it from my own personal experience. I would just ask that if you are listening to this and you have stress and anxiety around money, which again, most everyone does. I have people that will tell me that they feel this way and they don't know what to do about it. One of the best things that you can do is start to recognize when these anxieties and fears are coming up and just acknowledging it. Acknowledge it. It's okay to have those responses, those feelings. It's about developing an awareness around those feelings when they come up, trying to recognize what's causing it and whether or not what's coming up is actually true. And what I mean by that is, a lot of the stories that we tell ourselves are not true. They're things that we have often created to make ourselves feel safe. So the story I told myself was, if I'm constantly thinking about money and I'm constantly worrying about it and thinking about what I'm going to do with it, it's keeping me safe from every scenario that could happen, which is absolutely not true, because I don't know every possible scenario. There are infinite possibilities of things that can happen in our lives. And I was trying to control the outcome by constantly thinking through, well, if this happens, I'll do this. And if this happens, I've got this. Or, I was planning for a financial catastrophe at any moment, even though it was something that had not happened to me. How silly. I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. All I can do is be mindful of what my thoughts are around it and the actions that I take. And as long as I'm taking actions to ensure against some, risk, loss of job, medical expenses, emergency medical expenses, there's a lot of things that can happen. Planning against those risks is very different than constantly worrying about money. And the more you worry about money, the more it prevents you from getting it. It's a blocking energy. I call it like this energy. You can see like my hands are moving, right? It doesn't feel good in your body when you start to think about the stress and anxiety around money and the fear. It keeps money from coming to you because you're keeping yourself safe. You're putting up all these walls around you and you're saying to everything out in the world, don't come to me. And that includes money. So I want to, the thing I really want to reiterate is it's okay to have fears around money. You're going to have fears around money your whole life. I do. I've done tons of money mindset work and I continue to do it all the time. It's about honoring the feelings when they come up. Don't ignore them. Don't suppress them. Don't push them away, right? Acknowledge the feelings that you have as they arise. Let them move. If something happens with money that stresses you out, that's okay. Feel the feelings. Allow yourself to be in whatever the feelings are. Just don't stay in them. One of the things that I can tell you, one of the best things that you can do if you find yourself, having a panic about anything, but particularly about money. If something comes up and you're just super stressed out and you can't stop thinking about it, close your eyes and just focus on your breath. Take a couple deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth, and just focus on your breath. If you get focused on your breath, it's very hard to think about other things. And so that is one of the go-to things I do if I'm starting to feel in my body some sort of stress, anxiety, worry about anything, or if my mind is like constantly moving, 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 I will just stop and close my eyes and just pay attention to my breath, because that's the easiest way to just stop focusing on those thoughts. I think a lot of people have this idea that you have to meditate to do that. You do not have to meditate. If you don't like meditating, don't do it. I think a lot of people think you have to sit in a room by yourself with complete quiet, and they're like, well, I can't turn my thoughts off. Then maybe that's not for you right now. Focusing on your breath can really quickly get you out of your mind and just focus on something else, right? Just breathing a little bit. If you can do that when fears, anxiety, stresses around money are coming up, and they're going to, and it depends on where you are in your life. If you are struggling to get by, no doubt you are going to have fears around money. I understand that. I've been in that place many times in my life. You just can't stay in the worry. That's the thing, because worrying is not helping you. It is going to prevent you from having joy. It's going to prevent you from feeling good in your body. It's going to prevent you from having the money that you truly want. The worrying about money is costing you more than the worrying about it is. And actually, let me say that a little bit differently. When you're worried about money, it's costing you more than what the mindset is giving you, is what I really wanted to clarify. So it's, the thing I would do is, if you are somebody who knows that you have a lot of real anxiety and stress around money, is I might sit down and just write down what all of the fears are and how they're serving you, because it gives you a sense of why it is that you're telling yourself these stories. Why are you telling yourself that you have to be worried and have stress and anxiety? It's not helping you. Okay, so let's just say you don't have money to pay for something. Worrying about it is not going to help you. Worrying about it is not going to help you get the money. What is going to help you is you having an abundant mindset, knowing that the money is going to come in, and having gratitude. So, I mean, and there's a lot that goes into an abundant mindset. But what I would say to you is, write down all of the things that you think that your worries and anxieties, what they're doing for you. Because when you start to look at that, it will at least give you an idea of, okay, why am I telling myself these stories? And if you know it's linked to an event that has happened in this life, write it down. If you had a financial catastrophe, if you had to go through a bankruptcy, if you've had some major situation, that might cause real fear for you. But just because something has happened once doesn't mean it's going to happen in the future. And so constantly thinking and worrying and having this stress and anxiety, it's not helping. But when you can write down all of the ways that you think it's serving you and maybe where it came from, that can help you identify it and start to shift it a little bit. And everybody's going to be different. I can't possibly tell every single person that's listening to this how to fix their money mindset problem. I can tell you general ways that have worked for me, general ways that I know work for people that I work with. But getting a sense for yourself of, why do I have this? And if you don't know, it's okay. You don't have to find the answer to that. Sometimes the why we don't need to know. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. That's also going to be person specific. Why do I have this mindset? Why am I so stressed and worried? Where did this come from, do I think? If you don't know, don't get caught up on it. And writing down how it's serving you. That's such a good exercise to do, is say, how is this mindset serving me? Because it absolutely is in some way. It's just starting to recognize, okay, this is what I thought it was serving me, but maybe I'm starting to recognize that it's costing me something. Worrying does not make you feel good in your body. It doesn't. Nobody feels good worrying. It's just that we get so used to it, we don't recognize how bad it feels. And so that's why a lot of chronic health issues develop. We just get so used to feeling badly in our bodies, it seems normal. And then you don't even realize that you feel bad. So, if there's anything I can impress upon you, is really becoming aware of where you are having anxieties around money. And, that awareness in and of itself is going to be very helpful for you in trying to figure out how to shift it. But developing that awareness, trying to figure out how it's serving you, if it is at all, it certainly is serving you in some way, and then trying to shift it, really getting yourself to a mindset where you don't have control over everything that is happening. You can only do so much, and that worrying is not going to magically make money appear. I think a lot of people actually think that's true, and the very opposite is true. When you worry about money, you're going to have circumstances that continue to arise that show you should be worried around money. When you are not worried around money and you know that it's going to come in, and you trust and you surrender, money is going to come in to help you get the things that you want in your life. And the more that you can shift the mindset, the more evidence can come in to show you that mindset shift is resulting in the change that you want. You will have circumstances come into your life that show you, oh, things can come into me easily. Money can come into me easily. I don't have to worry about it. Right? Worrying's not serving you. I always say to people, if you're going to tell yourself a story that's not true, at least come up with one that's helpful to you. Worrying doesn't help you. Some other version of a story will. Something that doesn't make you feel badly about yourself and doesn't cause you stress and anxiety and not being able to sleep and all of those things, which, by the way, most everyone goes through that at every time in their life when it comes to money. So I hope that, you can take a little bit of something from this today. And if this is something that causes you a severe amount of anxiety, I know it does for some people. I met with somebody last week where this is the case. Small steps. This is not going to change overnight. This is not going to change today, tomorrow. But if you continue to develop awareness around it, change your stories around worrying, you're going to change how you feel, and it's going to make an enormous difference in your life. So thank you so much for joining me on the Wealth Embodied podcast. I hope you have an amazing day. Goodbye. Hey, before you go, would you love to receive my 3-step masterclass to easily create and hold wealth for free? It's called Effortless Money, and it includes the exact framework to start attracting money effortlessly and manifesting abundance with more ease. If you want it for free, all you have to do is leave an honest review of the Wealth Embodied podcast, take a screenshot of this episode and put it in your Instagram stories and tag me at Brianna_Faringer, and we will send you the free Effortless Money Masterclass. This is how my clients have manifested a $13,000 check, a promotion resulting in a $30,000 salary increase, and significantly improved relationships. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next time on the Wealth Embodied podcast.